as you are connecting neurons with the original event, now you're connecting neurons in a different way. It's all just cells connecting. That's all. All right, so welcome back, everyone. Welcome to live support with Odille for changing negative implicit childhood memories using the Remmert method. We've created this forum for those who've watched our YouTube videos or read our book and need extra help but aren't in a position to do one-to-one sessions at the moment. If you're new to the Remmert method, please check the description of this video for more details. And if you would like to join us in this free forum where I can help you, check the description for the details on that as well. All right, so first up today, we have Andy. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Odille.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you? I'm good. How are you
Lovely
doing?
to see you. Very good, thank you. How can I help you today?
So today I have a memory that I've been trying to change for a very long time, and it's like the only memory that I can't change. It's partially I think it's because it's not only like not a memory that's not empowering, but also it's a memory that I have a phobia associated with. You want me to just tell you?
Sure, you can. You don't have to if you want me to do no content, but if you'd like to share it, absolutely.
Oh, that's no problem. It's better for clarity. So the memory is time when I was much older than a childhood. I was actually around maybe 15. So my mother was a bit of a party animal person, and she had a lot of events every night where she and her friends would like get together and cook and eat and drink all night. While I was like in my high school age, I basically was up all night, kind of just waiting to go to sleep and waiting for the party to die down, and that was very frustrating for me. But for me, what I recall most was one night where, because my mother was always like drunk and not really there at home. She was there, just not physically there, but not there. She would not clean the house usually, so it was very dirty and full of rats, and there was like rat poop everywhere, and she just didn't care because she was drunk all the time. So one day I remember that she was like cooking on this like flat grill we had on the oven top, and it was late at night, and her friends were all drinking, and she was all drunk. So the food is just cooking there, I remember, and the stovetop is like flat. I remember like a rat directly came onto the like right next to the food, and it was just I have kind of a phobia of rats.
Okay.
I really dislike them.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of afraid of them. That's one of the only things I'm afraid of. So I remember that's a memory so much, and it wasn't the fact that at the moment I remember feeling unsafe, like because I had no control of like my life and what was going on, and like my sleep schedule or anything like that, and my education was suffering because I wasn't sleeping, so I wasn't going to school that much. So a lot of things were going on. And because of that, I remember that night that happened where the rat was just like basically right next to the food, sniffing it while it was cooking. And everybody just like music is blasting, everybody's just talking and laughing and drinking. And I'm just like, Mom, there's a rat about to eat the food that's cooking right there next to you. And she just like, oh, where's the rat? Where's the rat? I can't see it. I'm like, don't you see this huge rat is right next to the food? This is disgusting. And then I kept telling her, do something, do something. And then she said, oh, it's fine. There's no rat. Nothing's going to happen. I'm like, it's right there. And then she was like too drunk to see it. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is horrible. That night I didn't eat because I knew where the food came from. So I was like, no, I'm not eating that food.
Absolutely.
So it's been that memory that I just haven't been able to change. Like, because every time I try to change it, when I think of that rat, it just like kind of freezes my brain. Like I just go into this like shutdown stage.
Yes, I can understand that completely. That makes so much sense. And the thing is that there's a lot in that memory. There's a lot of different pieces. It's not just it was a rat. There's a lot of foundational pieces in that memory. So thank you for sharing that, Andy. And so the first thing I want to point out here for everyone is that actually, although we say childhood and we go for childhood if we can, 15 is not too old for
Right. I
it to
guess
have
it's
an
still
impact on you.
childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is effectively, in the greater scheme of things, as teenagers, we're still very much impacted by those experiences, the experiences we have with our parents and everything. And before I move on to actually changing the memory, I just want to check something with you. So you have a fear of the rats, and
Yes.
do you have the same fear if it's a cartoon rat? So, for example, Ratatouille or something like that.
No, I just kind of, I wouldn't say no necessarily, but like seeing the movie Ratatouille, it did kind of stir something in me a bit. Not
It
like
did.
fear, it was more like a disgust for rats. The thing is,
Yes.
I think they're like dirty. That's part of the fear. They're like full of disease, so it kind of scares me.
Okay, very good. What I want to do with this memory, and I think one of the reasons it may be so difficult to change, is that because of those lots of different pieces, we need stepping stones. And for anyone who's new to this method or to stepping stones, we'll put the link to stepping stone memories in the description of this video. So the first stepping stone, I would say, is that everything was exactly as it was, but the one difference we're going to make in the first stepping stone is that when your mother sees the rat, she acts appropriately.
Right.
So she does whatever you feel she should have done, right?
Okay.
So whether she kills the rat or she throws it out or whatever you feel like she should have done,
Kill the rat.
kill it. Yes. Okay. So can you imagine that, first of all?
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So she responds with, oh no. So she's shocked. She's not just like, oh, it's just a rat. I'll just kill it. She responds like you would respond. She's
Right.
disgusted. You got that?
Yeah.
How would that feel if that were the case?
It feels alleviating, different.
Yes. So there's two pieces to that bit there, you see, because number one, you needed her to take care of the rat in the first
Right.
instance. Another piece that's so important there is that she didn't see the rat. And that
Okay,
is
yeah.
so important because that's another piece of data. I'm not being heard, right?
Right.
I'm not being heard. I'm not being believed. There's this danger and no one knows, no one's hearing me, which makes your brain amp up that state of emergency.
Hmm.
We're in even more danger when someone doesn't see the danger.
That's true, yeah.
That makes sense? Good. So she needs to see it, acknowledge that it's horrifying. So she sees it from your perspective, and then she kills it, gets rid of it. You
Okay.
got that?
Yeah.
Good. And then she says, that's it. We're not eating this food. We're going out for dinner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
How
helps a
about
lot.
that?
That helps a
Good.
lot. Yeah.
Good, good, good. And she takes you to a lovely restaurant for your favorite restaurant for food instead of
Okay.
eating at home. Does that feel
That
good?
yeah, that sounds much better.
Good job, Andy. Very good. So I want you to practice that
Okay.
until it feels established. You feel like, yes, that's good. And then you'll move to the next stepping stone. And the next stepping stone is going to be that it was something else. Now, are there any animals that you find cute?
Cats, dogs,
Cats and dogs, right? Do you have a preference between those?
dogs, I guess. Yeah.
Dogs. Okay. So instead of the rat, there was a puppy in the kitchen who was trying to get to the food. And you find it funny because it can't reach, but it's trying to get to the food and you point it out to your mum. Would you be able to imagine that?
Okay. Yeah. I can imagine it. Yeah.
Good. And how cute is that puppy?
Very cute. It's a white little Siberian Husky.
There you go. Perfect. That's what we want. All right. So it's this cute little white husky puppy. And how does your mum react when she looks down and you point it out and you go, look, he's trying to reach the food, and your mum looks down? What's her response?
She's laughing. She thinks it's funny.
Good. Very good, Andy. Good job. All right. So that's the second stepping stone. In fact, that can be the final memory if that feels good. So then let's go back a step
Okay.
and do another stepping stone where your mother is not drunk. That's very important.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So your mum is not drunk. She is in a very good mood and she's laughing and chatting. There are no other people there. It's just you and her. How would that feel?
Much better.
Yes, yes. And you could even add to that where friends turn up or they phone and she says, "Oh no, sorry, I can't meet up with you tonight. I'm spending the evening with my son."
Okay, I'll do
How
it.
would that feel?
It feels way better.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let's put those together. So
Okay.
that's what's happening. It's just you and her and this little puppy. And perhaps the puppy is a present from her, a birthday present for you, or something like that, if you like, or you got to choose the puppy. You can put whatever feels good there. But it's you and her and this little cute white Siberian Husky puppy. So, how does that feel now if we look at that memory as a whole?
Feels nice, happy, warm.
Very, very good. Good job. All right. So then you want to practice that to establish it and make sure it's strong.
Okay.
All right. Did you have any other experiences with rats before that incident that stand out for you? Any earlier experiences? And if you haven't, the earliest one you can
Mm,
remember.
I don't think so. Not that I can remember.
Yeah. So my question for you then is, how do you know that rats are dirty or they carry disease, that kind of thing? How do you know about that?
Oh, well, actually, I do have some memory of like rats because we moved around a lot where I live. We were usually moving around every couple months or every year, and some of the houses we lived in did have some rats. So, but usually when my grandmother was living with me, she took care of it. Like she knew how to set up traps and poison and whatever.
Okay.
So
And
I was much more safe.
so was it from your grandmother that you learned that they were dirty and carry
Yes,
disease?
yes, yes. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it, yes, I remember when I was very little, I remember asking her like, "Oh, why do you trap the rats in those sticky traps?" And she said, "Oh, because they poop everywhere. Look at their poop. That's
There
that's
it
full of
is.
disease and they'll
Yes.
get you sick."
Very, very good. Okay, good job. And of course, the reality is that is true. Not all rats, but there can be
Right.
extremely unhygienic and all of that. So it's not knowledge that is bad knowledge to have, but
Yeah.
you don't want to be frightened of them. So
Yeah.
you want to be able to be strategic about it, where,
Hmm.
if you see rat poop or that you see a rat, that you're able to take action based on strategy and logic rather than being frightened.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
And of course, you get pet rats as well. My sister had two at different times, pet rats. She
Oh no,
adored.
I never get a pet rat.
So it's not all rats that are, and in fact, rats are very intelligent as well.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I grew up in New York. There's rats everywhere. So.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as I say, you want to have the logic behind it so that you are making decisions and taking actions based on fact and logic rather than fear. Let's take a look at your grandmother with the rats. Okay, so she set those traps. Now, what was her emotional state? Was she just strategic and matter of fact, or did she have an emotional reaction to the rat?
No, she was very calm and strategic about it. Like she didn't seem like worried or stressed out about it. She just said, "Oh my God, we have rats. Let's do something about it." And then she
Okay.
would just get the traps, and she would just explain to me like, "Oh, they're dirty. We have to get rid of them."
Okay. So now I want you to see if you can imagine your grandmother with a magic wand.
Okay.
And when she sees the rats, or she sees that, oh my goodness, we've got rats, she waves the magic wand and everything is clean and they disappear. How does that feel?
More calming,
Yeah,
relaxed.
yeah. And more control, in control. Then
Yeah.
she gives you the magic wand and she shows you how to do that. She takes your hand, she waves the wand, she says, "Watch, see, you do this, and everything's clean and they all disappear."
Right.
How would that feel?
It feels strangely like really empowering.
Yes. Good. That's what we want. That's what we're aiming for. And then she tells you can keep the wand. It's yours. So you always have that wand. And in the future, if ever you see a rat or anything dirty, you just wave that magic wand, the rat disappears, and whatever it was is clean.
Okay, yeah. I did realize now doing this work, I realized something I kind of have an obsession with things being clean because I also don't really like insects. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I remember also I have an issue with like roaches. Whenever I see a roach, I think like, oh, something's dirty. I must have failed it somewhere. I have to clean something.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. And it makes sense considering your experiences with your mother,
Right,
right? So that was you developed that hyper alertness and hyper awareness of insects and rats and everything else as a way of trying to control your environment when you
right.
had no control. So
Okay.
it makes sense. So that's why we want to give that little you that control now. You have that magic wand. It works on cockroaches as well. It
Mm-hmm.
works on everything. It works on insects. It works on dirt. How would that feel if that was the case?
Much more empowering and relaxing.
Very good. So you're going to practice that as well. Practice, you've got your
Okay.
magic wand and you wave it. Whenever you see something, you wave the magic wand and it's done so that that little you has ultimate control.
Right.
Okay. And allow yourself to fully experience that, fully feel it. And then I want you to imagine you're in the house with your mother. She's been drinking and there's dirt everywhere, and you are able to wave that magic wand. And what that magic wand does is it not only makes everything clean, it also sobers up your mother.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right. And your mum, her reaction is as if she's been under a spell and you've just freed her from that curse.
Right.
And she goes, oh, I'm getting waves of goosebumps as I'm saying this. She goes, oh, thank you so much. And she hugs you. She hugs you and thanks you because you freed her from that curse or that spell. And how would that feel?
It feels I kind of got goosebumps too. It feels really nice. I
Good,
kind of got
good,
like
good.
a surge of energy throughout my body.
That's it. Very good, Andy. This stuff is core and foundational to
Right.
everything you experience as an adult. So changing this is going to have a knock-on effect on a lot of areas of your life.
Right. It was one of the last memories that I couldn't really change, and it was because of that phobia, that fear factor that I just had trouble with.
That's right. So now I want to check in with that. So if you think of a rat right now, in fact, don't think of an actual rat. Don't think of what it looks like. Just think of the word rat. Any reaction? How do you feel?
It's like a neutral feeling, but there is a slight like kind of disgust, but it's very like very little.
Okay. So now let's check Ratatouille, that
Okay.
little cartoon rat. Any emotions?
No, no, it's a yeah. I just
Good.
see it as a cartoon, kind of
There you
funny.
go. So that's different. Very good.
Yeah,
Good
that's good.
job. And now imagine an actual rat. And what do you feel?
A little bit of fear.
Little bit of fear. Very good. So imagine the actual rat, and I want you to wave your magic wand and turn it into something else. What would you turn that rat into?
Another animal?
What kind of animal?
A dog, I guess.
Yeah. And you can also turn it into a cartoon if you want to.
I'll just leave it as a dog,
A
a
dog.
regular.
Very good. Very good. So every time you see a rat, you use your magic wand to turn it into a dog.
Okay.
Okay. So keep practicing that over and over that moment, because what we're doing here is we are rewiring the neural networks connected to the idea of a rat.
Okay, right.
Okay. So we're changing how your brain is firing, literally firing neurons when you think a rat.
Right.
Doing that repetitively over and over. And the cuter you can make that dog that you turn the rat into, the more effective this will be as well.
Okay, yeah. That makes
All
sense.
right. Keep doing that. And then once you feel like, yes, that's easy to do, and I can feel the feelings of the cute dog, then go back to thinking of a rat and notice any differences. So you want to keep doing that until when you think of a rat, it doesn't feel anything.
Okay, I will.
And even when you think of a rat, you get the feelings of the cute dog. Bonus points for that.
Okay.
How does that sound?
It sounds like a much better idea.
Yeah.
It's already feeling better.
Good job, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Very,
Thank
very
you.
good. So do you feel confident now moving forward with that?
Yes. I feel like that was the solution I needed that I just wasn't figuring out.
Yay, good job. And thank
Yeah.
you so much for bringing this here because I know, these things always help others as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the help.
You're very welcome, Andy, and lovely to see you, sweetie.
Same to you.
All right. And next up is Harriet. Hi, Harriet.
Hello, hello.
Hey, lovely to see you. How are you today?
I am good. I went to the dentist and everything is much less bad than anticipated. So that's all
Fantastic.
good.
Good job, you.
And
Yeah.
that allowing technique helped so much.
Good.
So every time it came up again, I just said, okay, you're allowed to be afraid and you're allowed to have anxiety, as if I was talking to a little me and just hugged her and everything. And then it calmed down. And then sometimes it came up again this morning. Of course, it came up again, but I just allowed it. And that was so good. That was just so good.
Good job. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know about the allowing technique, I'll put a link in the description as well.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yes, it's a very powerful thing. And the funny thing about it is that when you first think about it, it doesn't sound like it's going to do much.
No, that's very true, but it did.
That's not going to help, but it does.
Yeah, but it really helped.
Very good. Good job.
So my question that I had is, what if you have a memory of something that is much more recent, like last week or 2 years ago, and I cannot find any connection to any childhood things, and it usually has something to do with animal abuse?
Mm-hmm.
That just, it's horrible. And I sometimes can't get the images out of my head, and I don't know how to deal with something like that.
Okay, yes, very good. Good question. And so there's two things here. The first thing, which is the very basic thing, is that the brain is designed to focus on the danger. So if there is something that is so horrible, the brain is fixated on it because it thinks that's danger. So it's keeping its eye on the bear. And I know that I had somebody I was very close to was killed in an accident, and my brain was obsessed with replaying what I thought happened. And I couldn't sleep. It was really hectic. And that was before I was doing all this work. So I know that feeling. Now, so that's one piece of it. That is the natural tendency of the brain. And knowing that helps because you think, okay, this is normal. It's not something that's not normal. This is to be expected. And then we go to how to change it. Yeah. So regarding childhood links, one thing that I would say is when you think of that kind of, and I don't want you to think of the actual memories or anything, I just want you to think of the feeling you get. Can you identify that without thinking of the actual things?
I've been trying to think about something. I grew up surrounded by farms. I grew up where animals were slaughtered but completely differently though. I remember the woman at the farm leading the bull to the butcher. I didn't watch them slaughter it, but I knew what was happening, and that was all normal.
So this is the part that I really want to make a point of, is this is a great example of how it may be a completely different topic.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what's so important. It may not be anything to do with animals or anything like that. So what we're looking for is just the feeling you get when you think of those incidents, and then just that feeling, if anything comes from childhood. And in addition to the fact it may be a different topic, it may make no sense as well. It may seem completely random. And grab that straight away. Don't ignore it or filter it. So
I actually have something. It's kind of mistreatment of this very overweight school girl she was. Maybe it was first or second grade.
Yeah, there you go. So if that's popped up right now, it means that's definitely connected, because otherwise your brain wouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah, very true.
As you think of that incident in school, what are the feelings there?
Absolute sadness. And actually, I was mean to her.
Okay.
So
that's adding a
and
whole
I
other
went
layer.
home horrified about myself and asked my mom to give me cookies so I could bring her cookies the next day, because I felt horrible about doing that.
Yeah, there you go. So do you see how that piece, the fact that you were mean to her, adds a whole other level of horror to the things you're seeing now? Because now there's an aspect of somehow I'm involved. This is about, you know what I mean? So there's no logic.
I haven't thought about that. It's funny. I had worked with Steve on that memory, and all of a sudden it comes back up. I guess I didn't work on it enough. I didn't change it and practiced enough.
Well, what it is sometimes when we change other things, we've missed a spot, or what most of the time it can be is more stepping stones are needed.
Yeah.
There may be aspects of it that are still holding it in place like a root. So let's take a look at it and what stepping stones are needed. What happened when you asked your mum for cookies to take to her the next day? And did you do that? Did you give her the cookies?
And she did give me a small bag of cookies, and yes, I took them.
Oh, good. And how did
At least that's how I remember it.
Yeah. So, and how did that feel when you gave her the cookies?
She didn't want them, but well, she was, of course, upset. And I didn't really know how to apologize.
There's another layer. Yeah. Do you see that link there? Because there's another layer of complete helplessness. You can't change it. And you can't change these things that are happening with animals. So
that's exactly it. Yes.
So many layers to this. And that's why it's so intense. And that's why your brain won't let go of it.
Yeah. Oof.
Very good job.
I didn't think of that, something like that, because I thought, why? It was a video on YouTube. I was looking for animal YouTubes, especially horses. And then this popped up where Odille was mistreated. And that, bam, right smack. And I can't, now
it makes perfect sense. Everybody who cares compassion and cares about living things will feel upset. Absolutely. You see something there, but it's the fixation that indicates there's something else. Yeah. So that's really good. Okay, so let's have a look at, I think the first stepping stone we need to do is that everything happened the way it did, and you took her the cookies and she was thrilled. And she goes, "Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that." How would that have felt for you?
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah. Of course, because that way I feel like my apology was accepted, even though I didn't say I'm sorry, but it was accepted as an apology.
Exactly. Yeah. And perhaps she even hugs you. You hug each other.
Yeah, actually. We actually become friends.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So that's the first stepping stone. And the reason it's still just a stepping stone is because the other pieces need to change as well. So that's the first stepping stone on its own. And for those who are new to stepping stones, I'll put the link in the description of this video. So that's the first stepping stone. The second stepping stone is that you are mean. So whatever you did happened, but you immediately correct it in the moment. And so in the moment you say to her, "You know what, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that or done that," or whatever it is.
And she said, in the stomach.
Pardon?
I punched her in the stomach.
Punched her in the stomach. Okay, so you punch her in the stomach, but you were a child, right? So you punched her in the stomach. And how about this? She's wearing a protection thing. So it's like padding. So she laughs.
Yeah.
You punch her in the stomach and she laughs. And you laugh. And then you're wearing, those sumo wrestling suits that you can get, that children, you're wearing those. And so you're actually playing.
It's punching each other. The air is letting out. It's making a funny sound.
There you go.
So yeah.
How does that feel?
That is funny. That is good.
Fantastic. Very, very good. So that's that piece. Now let's look at the rest of it, which is everybody is mean to this girl. And is it that she gets teased? Is it that she gets into trouble a lot? and you don't have to go into any details, just more or less.
I don't know. I only remember that there was a small school in the neighboring town, and that had to close for a little bit. And those students came over for a few weeks, and she was part of them. I don't recall anybody else being mean to her, but what I remember is, what I'm thinking is that I did it to up my rank within my circle.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So what if, let's preset the scene. So the girl hasn't arrived yet. That hasn't happened yet. You are in school and you are the most popular kid in school. Everyone loves you. Everyone wants to be with you. Everyone wants to be your friend. Everyone wants to sit next to you. How would that feel on its own first?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. And as you walk into the classroom, all the other kids are going, come sit with me. Come. No, she sat next to you yesterday. It's my turn. That kind of thing.
It's a bit difficult because my brain is now saying why we had assigned seats.
Okay, good. This is such a great example. So thank you for that. Now we answer that with, this is just neurons connecting. It doesn't matter. This doesn't have to make sense.
Oh, that's yeah. Right. The teacher says today we are changing seats.
There you go.
Choose. That's exactly it. Yes.
That's great. Yes. Very good. And so for everybody else as well, remember that the only questioning of logic is going to come from the conscious mind, and you have control over that. The unconscious part of the brain doesn't use logic or reason. So if you if you change a memory in a certain way, and there's a logical reason why it wouldn't have been that way, the unconscious part of your brain won't know that and won't question it. So it's only the conscious mind, and you can answer that. So good job, Harriet. So how does that feel then, of where everybody wants to sit next to you and you are the most popular kid in school?
I get to choose, and that's really good. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And that is another separate reference on its own where you have control over what you experience.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So now from that positioning where you are, that girl turns up. How do you respond to that girl turning up as a new child?
I'm inviting her to sit next to me.
That's it. Exactly.
Yes. And gosh, that feels good.
Yes.
Yes.
So there's the compassion, the kindness, the generosity.
So needed. Yes.
I've got waves of goosebumps as we're talking this through, because that now, you see, where you were before, you were in a state of survival.
Yeah.
Because you weren't safe, and therefore you weren't going to be generous or compassionate to anybody else. That's human, that's survival. But now that you are safe, now you have plenty to give.
And deep down inside, I knew that the protection and empathy was needed.
Yes.
That's why I asked my mom to give me the cookies. But
that's because that's who you really are.
Yeah, exactly.
You really are. Yes. And that's who everyone really is. But it becomes covered up with all the protection mechanisms and the survival mechanisms. Once we have what we need, it's natural, human, automatic to give and to be protective and to be compassionate and to be altruistic.
Yes. It's like a...
Good job.
Yes, I know.
Very good. So now you'll want to, of course, repeat those new memories until they're established. Yes. Repeat the stepping stones until they feel established, and then go to the final memory, which is you're the most popular kid in school, and when she comes.
Yeah, and I'm inviting her. That is the best part of it. Exactly.
That's it. Yes. Now you want to establish those, but let's check in the meantime just to see. When you think of one of those situations with the animals, what's there now? Is it the same? Is it different?
There are two scenarios. One was I was driving down the road. It was extremely hot, and there was a puppy trying to keep up with the owner, I guess, and he was walking very fast, and I was just horrified. And I changed that memory into, dogs when they are very proud and they are prancing.
Nice.
It changes to that, but it always goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
So, and the other one,
you can get that new memory now.
Yeah, I need to change that still.
Yes, it was going back and forth because you still had the childhood references there.
Yes.
Right. So let's see. And there may be others. There may be other references as well. So we just want to test. Can you imagine that new memory now with that little dog ever so proud?
I can totally imagine that.
Good. And it's not going back and forth anymore.
Actually, no.
Good.
If I wanted to, it can, but
sure.
No. Yeah.
But it doesn't automatically.
No.
There it is. That's fantastic. So that means that the anchor that was holding that old memory in place was this whole situation with that girl in school.
Yes. Interesting. Gosh, it's crazy.
Isn't it? Isn't it fascinating? That's why I love this work so much. All right. So now, any other memories from recent times that you feel like you couldn't change? Let's check them.
It's only the one with the filly, with the baby horse.
Okay. And did you try and change that?
Second of it, but I know I haven't even touched that one because I didn't even want to think about it.
All right. All right. So, and I don't want you to think about it now. So let's imagine that that memory is just in a box, a locked box, and we're not going to open it. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to open it. And now I want you to think about that girl in school and what a wonderful feeling that is when you invite her to come over and sit with you. What's her reaction?
She was very glad and very happy that somebody invited her.
Very good. Very good. And how does that feel to you?
It makes me feel, can't even describe it. It makes me feel kind of like showing others this is how you should be.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect, Harry. Now I want you to just briefly think of the box that other memory is in. So don't think of the memory itself, just think of the box. And how do you feel just thinking of the box?
The box is fine. It's a wooden box with a lock.
Very good. And now I want you to think about opening the box. We're not going to open it, but just think, if I were to open the box, how would I feel?
I can unlock it, but I can't really. I don't want to open it though.
Don't want to open it. That's fine. No. Good. So you've unlocked it and it's still there. So now I want you to imagine that you're with that girl in school. She's next to you. And how's everyone else reacting to the fact that she's sitting next to you? How does that change how everyone else treats her? In other words, what impact?
They kind of don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But something changes because they're nice to me anyway. They are also nice to her.
That's it. Spot on.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
Empowering.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you have the power to not only control how others feel about you and treat you, but you can have an impact on those who are with you.
Very important. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And now you're going to use that power to change that memory in the box, right? I'm getting waves of goosebumps as I'm saying this. You're not going to open it. You're not going to open the box. You're going to take a magic wand and you're going to magic whatever is in that box. You don't know it doesn't matter. You don't need to look in it. You just wave your magic wand and you know that whatever is in that box is going to turn into something wonderful. And it can be anything. It can be a rainbow. It can be fluffy things. It can be stuffed toys. It can be anything you like. It can be music. What would you change?
My first thought was a frog.
A frog.
But that would still be like, if it all of a sudden jumps out, it would be like, so I think I think a stuffed animal would be better. A teddy bear, a plain old teddy bear.
There you go. Okay, so what's in that box now is the cutest teddy bear.
Yes.
All right. And what's his name or her name?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Very good. A good name for a girl. I'm teasing. Jimmy the teddy bear. And so now how do you feel about opening that box to see Jimmy the teddy bear?
That is no problem. There is still a little bit of jumping going on, though.
Okay. So as you think about opening the box to get Jimmy the teddy bear out, where's your brain jumping to? How do you know it's
First,
jumping?
the teddy bear.
Good.
First, the teddy bear.
Good job. And then?
And then there is the knowledge that says, but that's not true.
Okay, very good. So we want to answer that because at this point in time, none of it's true. Not even the original one is true because
you're right.
It's a memory, right? So it's not real. It's not real now, I mean. So as you think of even the original thing, it's not actually real. It's neurons connecting in your brain.
It's very true because you can't put a memory in a box.
Right.
So it's not real at all, but a teddy bear actually can be in a box.
There you go. And so as you are connecting neurons with the original event, now you're connecting neurons in a different way. It's all just cells connecting. That's all.
It's very true. Yes. Oh, yeah. Actually, now when I think about YouTube, I think about a box with a teddy bear.
There you go. Good job.
I don't know. This is just amazing. And I love having a new friend.
Good. Yes.
Actually, a friend who I don't need to prove myself to.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And that new friend who you don't need to prove yourself to is key to being able to change that other memory that wouldn't change.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yay.
I need to get myself a magic wand.
Yes, indeed. They're very handy.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for bringing the questions because I know it will help so many others as well. Good job, you.
Thank you.
All right. And then I have a question that I received by email to answer. This question comes from Specific. And for those who haven't seen them yet, you can check previous recordings of these sessions for when I've answered previous questions from Specific on the same topic, if you need some background on it. So Specific says, hi, Odille. Thank you for answering my question. I would like for you to expand more or give me some more tips on how to make the touchstone feeling stronger. As I envision how I want my life to be, doubt creeps in, or questions as to how will it happen, or if that truly would make me happy. Those creep in. Then getting that strong feeling is tricky. Further, let's say the phrase is, I love my life. What scenarios or creative ways can I include in my childhood with that same feeling? Also, I am really struggling with my present circumstances and want to find new ways to make income and resign from my job. I am trying to spot opportunities, or do you think I should focus on childhood memories? Then the opportunities will automatically come. So thank you, Specific, again for the questions. I'll answer your last question first. So trying to spot opportunities while you have the old unconscious programming will keep you repeating what you've always experienced. So remember that our implicit childhood memories are the brain's GPS or sat-nav. That means that whatever opportunities you notice or don't notice, your brain filters out, along with your decisions and everything, the actions you take or the actions you don't take, all of that will be determined by your current childhood memories. So just like if your GPS was set for where you've always been, when you try to drive to a new destination, it'll keep turning you around and taking you back to where you were until you change it to match your new destination. So in the same way, you need to change your childhood memories first and establish them by repetition to match the results you want. And then, and this is what's so powerful and encouraging, then your brain will automatically be trying to keep you in alignment with that new self-image and worldview. You won't even need to try because it'll be as automatic as your current experiences are. So it'll be striving to keep you in alignment with the new self-image and worldview. And therefore, of course, the opportunities you do notice, the solutions you come up with, your decisions, your actions, all of that will automatically be different and leading you to the results you want. So now to your first question, how to make your touchstone feel stronger. So there are 3 pieces to this. The first piece is answering. answering those thoughts and those doubts. And I can't stress enough how important that is for everyone. As soon as you notice the thought of, but how will it happen? For example, answer it. Answer it with, I don't know, but I also don't know how the internet works, but that doesn't mean I can't use it, right? There was also a point when I didn't know how I would get from one place to another, but then I got on public transport and I ended up there, or I got in the car, set the GPS, and I ended up there. So just because I don't know how to get from where I am now to where I want to be, it doesn't mean there isn't a way. We can't see around corners. So just because I can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. So be sure you are answering. So keep answering with that logic, because the doubts are not based on logic. Doubts are based on unconscious programming from childhood. And then your conscious mind is putting logic to it. Well, it's because I can't see how, there isn't a way. And then your conscious mind will look for reasons that prove those doubts. So that's why it's so important to answer them using the logic. All right. So it's crucial to use your conscious mind to answer logically to keep yourself on track toward what you want. Otherwise, it's like driving a little way along the road from Chicago to LA or from Joburg to Durban, not seeing Durban or LA yet. So you get out of the car and you hang around on the side of the road, doubting you can even get there because you can't see the route from where you are. As for how do I know this will make me happy? The answer to that is it won't. Nothing will make you happy because nothing can make you happy. Happiness is completely an inside job, and I do mean that literally. It's absolutely impossible for anything or anyone outside of you to make you happy because it's chemicals inside your own body that create the feeling of happiness. So only you can create those chemicals. And that happens through the connections between neurons or thoughts. It happens automatically in response to things outside of you, or rather your perception of things outside of you, but it's still your own neurons connecting and you're producing chemicals inside your own body. And no matter what's happening outside of you, you can change those neural connections and produce chemicals that make you feel happy independently of what's going on outside of you as soon as you take yourself off automatic. And the reason this is so important is because the answer to how will I know that will make me happy is I don't need to worry about whether that will make me happy or not because I create happiness for myself. So it means that regardless of what I do, what decisions I make, where I end up, who I'm with, I can create the happiness inside myself. So if I'm creating happiness inside me, rather than relying on anything outside of me, including a job or circumstances, other people, whatever it is, it means that when I get this thing that I want, I know I'll be happy. There's no doubt. There's no question about it because I'm creating the happiness inside me. It takes the uncertainty and the worry out of the equation. It's like saying, how will I know there'll be something that I like to drink at this party that I'm going to? You take your own, right? If you bring your own beverages that you like, well, then you know that as long as you're bringing something you like, there will be something you like to drink, regardless of whether the hosts actually have it available or not. You take your own. And so in the same way, as long as you are bringing your own happiness, you know you'll be happy, regardless of the outside circumstances and people. So that's why that's so empowering. And it can be difficult to get your head around that because we're so used to, and we're conditioned that way from childhood, everything that we need comes from outside of us. And everything that happens to us is coming from outside of us because that's how we are when we're born and when we're children. We're completely reliant on the adults around us to feed us, to keep us alive, to protect us, to give us what we need or want. And everything that happens to us is coming from someone outside of us. But as we grow into adulthood, that's no longer the case. I'm not relying on someone else to feed me anymore and to protect me. I have the capability to do what needs to be done to feed myself and to protect myself, and so do you. But because we have that unconscious conditioning, it affects our perception of the world. So we automatically are looking outside ourselves still, the way we were when we were babies and children. It's got to be that's got to help me, that's going to help me. But taking a step back from that, realizing that shift in perception and choosing to adopt that shift in perception, then you start realizing, oh yeah, I can do it all inside myself. And then the magic is that when you do it inside yourself, the outside starts to mirror what's inside you. It's not the other way around. So that's the first piece, answering those doubts and the other thoughts using logic rather than buying into the emotions that you're feeling. The second piece is remind yourself that this is all about the difference between the unconscious part of the brain and your conscious mind. There is a big difference. We are not the unconscious part of the brain, but we tend to feel like we are because it's just us in here. So it all feels like the same thing. But when you watch a movie, if you sit through the movie saying, but this isn't real, this doesn't make sense, it's not realistic, I know this isn't real, you can't enjoy the movie. In order to enjoy the movie, you have to suspend disbelief. And we do that all the time when we're reading a book, watching a movie, watching a TV show, listening to a podcast. We are constantly suspending disbelief so that we can fully experience all the emotions and the experiences of it. The unconscious part of the brain won't question it. It's only the conscious mind that uses logic and reason and that sees things as unrealistic. So when you're practicing your touchstone, it's not so much about finding ways to make the feeling stronger, although I'll give you some suggestions in a minute on that. It's about allowing yourself to feel those feelings without interrupting with logic. It's about allowing yourself to believe in that moment and feel the feelings and enjoy the feeling. You know it's not real, and that's okay, but you also know movie's not real. You don't have to keep saying it, right? You can allow yourself to enjoy it. So it's about allowing yourself to suspend disbelief just as you would if you were watching a movie or reading a book. And some people may think that that's being delusional. Here's the reality of it. This is not about the conscious mind believing things that aren't real or being delusional. This is about changing brain and body chemistry and rewiring the neural connections for the unconscious part of the brain. So your conscious mind already knows that this is imagination for the moment. But if it keeps interfering with, but that isn't real, that's like, again, getting out of the car every few yards, pointing out that you're not at your destination yet. You have to, in the first instance, have your destination in your mind. That's where you're going. And the fact that you're not there yet is no indication of whether you will get there or not. As long as you keep your desired destination in your mind, that's your touchstone, allowing yourself to feel the feelings of it. That's heading toward your destination, making sure that you're facing the right direction. And you make sure that your GPS is set for that new destination. And that's, of course, your new implicit childhood memories. And then you stay on the road. So in other words, you don't keep stopping and getting out of the car and going, well, we're not there yet and I can't see it yet, right? So that's you answering those doubts rather than stopping all along the road. You will get there, just like you will get there in the scenario with the car driving somewhere. So the third piece is making more neural connections to amp up those feelings. And the way to do that is twofold. Firstly, homing in on the details that feel good. And secondly, and most importantly, allowing yourself to pretend that those are real so that you can amp up chemicals. It's the neural connections in the neocortex of your brain as you allow yourself to pretend it's real that produce more of the feel-good chemicals, and that will amp up those feelings, making those feelings stronger. And finally, if you do all of this, and you still can't allow yourself to feel strong, good feelings, you still find that you can't allow yourself to feel them, and the doubts are still strong, then do the detective work to find out what references are stopping you from doing it. Because remember, this is all just neurons connecting in your own brain. There's nothing outside of you that can stop you from doing it. So if you find you can't do it, that means that there are references that need to be changed. So in that case, ask yourself, number one, how do I know? How do I know this doubt, whatever the doubt is? How do I know I'll never have that, or I can't do that, or there isn't a way? Then number two, how does that feel? And home in on the feeling of that. And then number three, where in my childhood did I feel that same feeling? Remember, it may be a completely different topic, but it'll be the same feeling. And you're only looking for the feeling. So don't filter anything out. Take the first thing that pops into your mind from childhood. Then, of course, change those memories to the opposite, positive and empowering, and practice the new ones. And then try the touchstone again and see if you're able to now allow yourself to feel the strong, good feelings. And if not, then repeat those steps until you are able to do it. And as for creating I love my life memories in your childhood, ask yourself what that little you really needs in order to love her life. So what would have been the ideal if she could wave a magic wand and have and be and do anything with no limits? What would that be like? So I'll give you an example. For the little me, it would have been living in a beautiful big house with both my parents, and my parents are happy and fun and relaxed. When we go on holiday to Disney World, and there's no school, and we have a swimming pool, and I can do whatever I like every day. And my parents are there to play with me, and we all play board games, and I have a lion cub as a pet, and I have horses I can ride, and so on. So that gives you an example of mine. Keep reminding yourself the unconscious part of your brain doesn't use logic or reason and won't question it. So I hope that helps, Basicle, but let me know if you need more clarification on anything. And thank you again for the questions.